So this is your homework as well this week. This is your online learning work. This just happens to be for the honors class, but there is a very similar assignment for all other students working on the Always Running Book Club module. We have this amazing quote right here from by Luis Rodriguez. Say you won't believe them when they rename you. And so this really stuck out to me for the way that he wrote it. It's almost like he is writing a song or it's a lyric. This is actually part of his spoken word poetry. And it stuck out to me. If you were on the Zoom class last week, we actually discussed what this might mean in terms of stereotyping, labeling, the power that people have when they stereotype you, and then how you get that power back. So that, and I believe you get that power back through something like this quote. But I wanted to just provide a brief overview of, about the assignment. So, when Miss Sweet and I developed this assignment, we really wanted you to say this out loud. I know it sounds silly, but it's super powerful to read poetry out loud. Not only that, but to read it more than one time. We were thinking that each time you say something, it's a little bit different, and your voice comes out a little bit different, and your mind hears it a little bit differently. So find some space, some quiet space, and read this out loud. We said 3 times, so you can have fun with that. But do try it. I think it's a nice experiment with words and poetry. And then it's really important for you to write what this means to you. So, part of it is that this is confusing. And if that's the first response, which it was for me when I first heard it because of the way that it's written, I would continue with that. I find this quote confusing because the author, Luis Rodriguez, jumps right in to the sentence. So that's what I was thinking at first with the word say. And that was my first response. And I really had to sit with this quote for a few minutes and to say it out loud and to hear it a couple of times. But then after that, I'm figuring out this quote, or Luis rather, Luis is saying that, and then we're just going to continue with what we think the meaning is. So you could say this means, or I think this is telling us that, or this quote is saying, is telling, is showing. I personally don't like to use the phrase "this quote" because it's really the author Luis Rodriguez who is saying it because he's the author. So Luis Rodriguez is saying, I like that better. These are some starters then to think about that. After you've written what you think it means, and you might even challenge yourself by saying, what the quote is telling you, and then add a because. And then that will force you to come up with a why you think this meaning is a certain, means something specific against that quote. And this is really important as we continue. I think, we get stuck sometimes in thinking, okay, this is right or this is wrong, or there's one right answer. And remember, those don't exist here. We do not have right and wrong. We have thinking and progressing and working it out and making meaning, but there is no right and wrong. So here are some questions to focus on in your reflection. This first one has to deal with, in this quote, one of the key words for me that comes out of it is rename, right? Another one is won't believe. But rename is so interesting. I don't hear that a lot in everyday life, and that kind of threw me. And I was thinking, okay, what does that mean? But then I thought about it, like revise, revision, right? You're doing something again. So I'm going to just put that, what do I at first I didn't know what rename meant, but then I thought of other words. Remember our prefix lessons that began with the prefix re, right? So remodel, revision, reconstruct. So you're doing something again. You're doing something again. And maybe new, right? Redo. We all want a redo at some point. Okay, so what does it mean to rename someone? So to give someone else a new name, another name, a second name. Okay, and I'm going to add that. What does it mean to rename someone? Also asking you to give someone else a new name, a second name, a different name. Okay, what kind of impact could that have on a person? So this is very personal, and notice it's saying someone, right? It is not saying Luis. It is not necessarily geared towards the text. That's why this assignment, you can jump in at any time, no matter where you are in the book. Even if you haven't started the book, you can jump into this and work backwards. That's what I like about this book, because there are different chunks, like different memories, and there's not one beginning, middle, and end. Same thing with this assignment. You can jump right in because we're not asking here about Luis. So that's personal. So think about the act of renaming. I always go to this. Is it positive or negative? I mean, I always jump to that when I'm analyzing, when I'm breaking and making meaning. Is the act of giving someone a new name positive or negative, or both? And then why? Explain what you're thinking. So I'm coming up with additional questions down here. You are not going to see these in your assignment, but this is me brainstorming. And hey, you know what? I'm a teacher, but I still have to break down these questions, and I still have to brainstorm, and this is a lifelong skill. In classes that I take, I do this. When I prepare for lessons, I do this. So really spending time with the questions to understand them, and even write new questions underneath or question the questions are important. Impact, we talk a lot about impact. I love this word for analysis. We talk about that impact is the effect that it has on something, the result. And then again, what kind of impact? We're going back to the good, the bad, what other types of impact? Is it lasting? Is it non-lasting, meaning it's very, very quick? It's not a big deal, so it's not permanent, or is it permanent? I'm not going to be able to spell this. Okay. Then what is the danger of following the advice in this quote? And this gets a little like, thinking through my first step in answering this question is going back to the meaning. What does it mean to rename someone? And then this implies, this is saying to me that there is a danger. And what if I don't think there's a danger in this? Then I would definitely go in that direction. So question the question and push back on the question. That's part of it too. What is the danger of not following the advice in this quote? So for these two questions, you as the thinker and the writer, you have to put yourself in the position of this you, the person that's you in this quote. There's a you and there's a they, them and they, right? Same deal. There's you and them. And so these two questions are asking you to put yourself in the shoes of the you in this quote, and how would you feel? And then this third one does connect it back to the book a little bit, but you could still, I should have put his last name here. You can still think about it in terms of, Luis Rodriguez. He is the writer of this quote, the author of this quote. What is another way he could have written this quote while still expressing the same meaning? And like, I have to sit with that for a minute and really break that out. So, hey, if I'm Luis Rodriguez, I write this quote, what's another way he could have written it and the same exact meaning? What are three other ways he could have written it with the same meaning? Let's bump it up a little bit. And that's here is you having some fun a little bit, pretending that you are this poet and that you're coming up with one, two, three other ways that it could be written while expressing the meaning that you believe it has. So this is a creative piece here. Okay, I have gone over my time limit, and I think this is a cool assignment. I can't wait to see what you come up with, and I will talk to you later.